The loop.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Gamma Ray Report. My name is Rose Gamma Ray, and I'm once again joined by my incredible sister, Goldie Gamari, for the second ever live stream on my channel. Welcome, Goldie.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Guys, let me bring up the comments for a second. What did you think of that intro? Wasn't that like one of the coolest things you've seen? That was a pretty cool cool intro. Unfortunately, we had the loop on or something, so I think that was totally my fault, but oh,
No,
I'm glad that you guys liked the little intro there. So,
yeah,
yeah.
huge shout out to you, Goldie, for putting that together. You know, you're so crafty.
God, oh, I hadn't told people. Yeah, guys, I made that intro. I'm the one that made. See, guys, you've
Yeah.
seen like the intro for my channel. It's like super lame, super basic, like, whatever. But when it comes to my sister, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I want to make a cool intro for her." So, yeah,
Yeah,
I did that. I
yes.
made the intro. So,
I give credit where credit is due, and
aw, thank
honestly,
you. Oh
you
yeah.
are you're the reason this is even happening, and like especially with everything you've got going on your channel, and I don't even know how many back-to-backs you've done today, but you've helped with everything behind the scene and the video, and that's all of your handiwork. So thank you so much for all of that and for helping bring this amazing science adventure to life.
Oh, no, absolutely. Listen, this is fun. I enjoy this because not only me, like this gives me and a lot of people who are tuning in from the Iran Revolution Live and the Goldie Show community kind of gives us a break, right? It gives us a break. So, I'm really excited for our second class field trip, right?
Yes,
It's like the whole magic school bus thing. So,
yes.
guys, I said to my sister, like, she needs to buy like different space themed or like sciencey themed earrings, just like Ms. Frizzle, because that way, like, whenever um, she does a live stream, she can have like different earrings or something. So, um, we need to start like a fund for that or something. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like we're on the magic school bus. But I have to say, Rose, before we get into the documentary, you picked the one topic that I literally told you was my childhood fear.
Well, that's why I picked it, like that's you only got yourself to blame. And you know, I just keep thinking about all the times you traumatized me as a kid. And so, I again I
It's
gotta get
true.
back at you
True.
somehow. So let's bring one of your childhood fears to life. But before we get into the documentary, I just wanted to say that I've been blown away by all the support, all the comments, all the questions, and the thoughtful suggestions that all of the viewers have been sharing. So thank you all for that. I have been reading through everything, and it's been so incredible to see so many people who are genuinely curious about science and space and some of the biggest questions that a lot of us have just about how the world works and the universe, and these are all things that I like to explore. And I've gotten so many great ideas for future videos and live streams and documentaries and watch parties, and I think it'll all be really fun and exciting things to explore with everyone. And Goldie, obviously, with you, anytime you're available and interested, you are always a VIP on this channel. So
I don't think you have
I'm
a choice in that matter, to be honest. But
yeah,
no,
yeah.
but thank you for that. No, I appreciate that. I mean, obviously, like I don't want to, um, take over your channel. Obviously, like that's not what I want to do at all. Like I'm not a Durka. This isn't like a coup d'état or anything like but yeah, absolutely, like I would love to come join whenever I can, because for me especially, like, it just really gives me a nice break, right? Um, and one of the reasons, that I think I've been so successful with my channel is because I'm able to uh, take a very complicated topic, right? We're talking about the Islamic regime, the Middle East, geopolitics, and all that stuff, right? And so my area of expertise is taking, that very sort of complicated topic and really break it down and just to communicate it in a way that people understand. And so, um, the majority of people who tune into the Goldie Show or Iran Revolution Live, it's not because they're experts in the area. It's because um, they're interested in the topic, but they're looking for more information, and they're looking for someone who can break it down in a way that is easily understood, and like someone who doesn't have their head up their butt and doesn't act like they're smarter or better than everyone else, right? So um that's sort of, I think, the success with my channel. And for you, it's the exact same thing because, especially when it comes to like the space type things that I literally know. Well, guys, like that's what I'm saying, like space and physics and like all that stuff. Like if you think geopolitics is complicated, like space and physics and that kind of stuff is even more complicated, right? Um, and so that's why I'm really looking forward to your channel because I've always had a fascination with science and space and technology and all these things, but it's just never been like I can't go and read like an abstract, right? Like I mean I could, but then I'm just reading it and I'm like, what is going on here? So I think the value that you bring is um doing the exact same thing, except you're literally like you literally studied aerospace engineering, right? So if let me put it this way, if the civilization was going to end tomorrow and like we needed to like take like the most intelligent people to start like a new colony on another planet, your knowledge is way more useful than mine, right? Because it makes more sense to have someone who understands how planes work or flight or whatever. Anyways, all that to say, I'm really happy to be here. I'm looking forward to looking forward to this documentary. And yeah, guys, I made my sister make a promise. So this tonight we're watching a documentary about the sun, but tomorrow, Sunday, so for the next live stream, I made her promise that we're going to watch a documentary on whether or not Pluto is a planet. Because
You mean Bluto?
Pluto, Pluto. Is Pluto a planet? So Sunday is going to be even more controversial because we're going to be talking about, yeah, exactly. See, I got you guys. I got you guys. I got you guys. So yeah, the next one's going to be about Pluto and whether or not Pluto is a planet or not. So there you go. That's going to be a heated discussion.
Oh, looking forward to that. So thank you so much for all those kind words. And yeah, we'll see where tonight takes us.
Okay. And guys, behave in the chat. Same rules in my channel applies here, but even more. Like even more strict. Because I'm still a little bit lenient.
I don't know. I thought I was gonna be more lenient than you, but okay. So because we're taking this magic school bus kind of theme of going on field trips, I don't have a magic school bus, but I'll show you what I do have. Are you ready?
Yeah, what is it? Oh, it's the airplane, the Q400.
So everyone, all aboard the Q400 for our field trip to the sun.
No, that sounds like you're gonna fly into the sun. Oh, sorry. Okay, so guys, I'm just gonna tell you right now. So in English we call ourselves Goldie and Rose, but sometimes we forget. So sometimes I'll call my sister Goldpar. She'll call me Goldsa. Sometimes it's fine. Goldpar, have you seen the interview of the guy who, when someone's like, "What do you want to do?" He's like, "I want to be the first man to land on the first astronaut to land on the sun?
I don't think I've had the honor of seeing that video, no.
Uh,
Hmm.
I think it's AI generated, but oh my gosh, I
Oh,
found the clip
really?
somewhere. Yeah. Anyways, I can't
Well,
find it
that
now,
that
but
makes a lot of fun if it
but
was
but
fake.
okay, you need to do the Q400 thing again. But before you do that, can you explain to everyone why you have a Q400?
Oh, yes, sure. So this is a Q400 airplane built by Q400, built by Bombardier, which was the manufacturer. The reason I have a Q400 is because I used to work there, specifically on this plane. So this was the plane that I worked on when I was in my aerospace engineering days, and this was my baby. So if you've ever flown a plane with twin turboprops that kind of look like this, yeah, could have been one that I built. So you never know. Yeah,
And
fun time.
that's why, guys, that's literally why we're here, because my sister is an aerospace engineering professional. She literally like built and designed planes. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is a Canadian company. We are, one of our crown jewels, the few that we have in Canada. Obviously, Canada has a much smaller aerospace industry than the US and even Europe, but we do pretty well. We have the Canadarm, we have our astronauts, we have a decent space program. We have Chris Hadfield. Anyone know about Chris Hadfield? He was well, do you know Chris Hadfield,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we got,
Didn't he ran for the Liberals at some point or something?
I don't know about that.
Right.
I just know the space science stuff. You of course you would know the politics side of it.
No, 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 no. It wasn't him. It was someone else. No, no, no. I like Chris Hadfield.
Actually, our previous Governor General, Julie Payette, one of our previous
Yes.
generals, used to be a Canadian astronaut. So that was pretty cool. Okay, so who's ready to go to the sun? Goldie, before we get started on the documentary, how about you tell me a little bit more about this fear that you had of the sun?
Okay, so it was like an existential fear. Like literally as a child,
How
I
old are we
remember
talking?
um I don't know, like I think I was like grade 4, maybe grade 4, grade
Okay,
5 or
not like
something.
that young, like you're kind of preteen.
Yeah, like I was like,
Yeah.
let's say around the age of 10,
Okay.
right? Like around the age of 10 where like, my cognitive skills and my ability to think about like existential things starts developing, right? So, I think I was watching a documentary or something. I can't remember what it was. If it was, Bill Nye or I don't know, something. And I learned that the sun is dying because the sun is a star and all stars eventually die. And the show or whatever was like, eventually at some point, billions and billions of years in the future, the sun is going to, die, and everything that we know of will be gone. It will just be as if like it never existed. And so that just put this like existential fear and dread in me, because even though I know that I'm going to be like dead billions and billions of years before that ever happens, right? Like I'll be dead and gone. um but just the thought, as a child, the thought of um knowing that one day everything I see around me will literally not exist anymore, it just put this like existential fear in me. Um yeah, so that was one of my childhood fears. And the fact that you're now sharing this documentary, which is literally confirming my childhood fear, yeah, thank you for that. And guys, by the way, anyone who
Welcome.
is watching this live stream on my channel, um, the link to the Gamma Ray Report YouTube channel is on my live stream chat and also in the video description. So if you want to participate in the live stream, go tune into my sister's channel because I've actually made my live stream very, very aggressive and annoying. You're gonna get like a commercial break, like commercials every 6 minutes, and that's basically to like annoy people to like stop watching on my live stream and like switch over to Rose's so that you guys can all like subscribe and like and everything because you want to watch this on her channel. So there you go. All right, well, we can see some questions already.
Thanks for doing that, Goldie. But yeah, so Amina LS11 is asking, is it gonna supernova? That's a great question. So that is one way, you know, a star can end its life. But what do you think, Goldie? What do you think is gonna happen to our sun? Do you think it's gonna supernova?
I don't know what does supernova mean?
Supernova, that's when the sun explodes. The star explodes.
Oh.
Yeah, you've never heard of a supernova?
Yeah, I know what it's like. I've heard of the supernova. I just didn't really know exactly what it was. Um,
Yeah.
so I thought that like, isn't there two ways this happens? Like one way is like it explodes, and then the other way is like it turns into a black hole. Like I always thought that black holes were dead stars.
They can be, but not every star becomes a black hole. It really depends on how much mass the sun has, the star has. So
So
how
how much it
mass?
weighs?
Sorry,
How much it weighs, basically?
like its mass. Yeah, weight is a factor of gravity, so mass would be a better term.
Okay, so
So
if a star has a higher mass, does it like so which mass condition determines whether it like explodes or implodes? So I guess if it explodes, it's a supernova, and if it implodes, it's a black hole, right?
yes,
So which mass does it have to be for one or the other?
that's a great question, and I believe we're going to explore that during the documentary.
Okay. Okay. Well, I no, listen, I'm looking forward to that because I don't know the answers to these questions, and that's
Yeah,
why we're here. So,
but what do you think is going to happen to our sun?
you know what? Why don't you do a poll?
Okay.
Why don't you do a poll and ask our everyone who's watching if it's going to go supernova or turn into a black hole. Oh my gosh, look at this. You'll like this comment, Rose. Black hole
Oh,
sun.
I love that
Oh, yeah.
one.
Rose and
Okay.
I are kind of into rock, so there you go.
That's my favorite genre of music. How will our sun die? It's in the widget section, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here are some options. How will our
What
sun
white dwarf red giant? Oh, the red. Oh, I know that red giant is like it's like it just kind of like starts expanding and it becomes red because it cools down. Guys, I remember my science stuff from like grade 10. So red giant is like it gets really big, but it cools down. And then a white dwarf is like it starts contracting, but it heats up. Am I right? No, I'm not, am I?
You're actually doing pretty good. You're doing
Oh
pretty
my
good.
gosh. I'm like totally embarrassing. I like guys, I'm
No,
literally
you're not.
I'm out of my element here. Um okay, so while we're waiting for, some results from this poll, Rose, could you like what does a supernova look like versus a black hole?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me find.
Adam's like, we're all out of our element here. Yeah, I know. We're all well, not Rose. Like Rose knows her stuff, but the rest of us, yeah, like I'm definitely out of my element. That's okay, guys. I'm here to ask all the questions so that you guys don't have to.
So, I mean, obviously, like there are some photos that exist, but these events happen very, very, very far away. So there are some interesting shots that we've seen over time. But how do you think we would see a black hole, in your opinion?
Well, it would look like nothing. It would look like a black hole. It would literally look like a spot of nothingness um in like the satellite imagery because black hole absorbs light, right? That's why it's called a black hole.
So I'm gonna actually. So there was the first picture of a black hole was captured a couple of years ago. Let me see how I can share my screen.
Oh, I remember that.
Um,
So
how do
your screen is already shared. You have to go to the tab that you want to share and then click on like share this tab instead.
Okay.
Okay. So now there you go. Wow.
Okay. So this was the first captured image of a black hole, uh, which was 2024. Oh no, 2022. Scientists have released the first image of Sagittarius A captured by the Event Horizon Telescope. How absolutely insane is that?
That's crazy. So the black hole is just like sucking everything in.
Oh, Atgi is saying this was captured in 2019. But yeah,
It could have been, but I remember there was like a high resolution version that came out more recently or something. But yeah, like
more
I
high
think
res than this.
I don't know, maybe not. I maybe I'm just thinking of the movie Interstellar. I'm
Well,
probably just thinking of
Interstellar has a great representation uh, of what it could look like, but obviously it's fake. But that was a great movie, wasn't it?
that was. I see a lot of really good questions in the super chat about black holes. I think at some point you should probably do like a video explaining like black holes and stuff because I think like that's a fascinating topic. Absolutely terrifying, but
Yes, yeah. But so it's definitely something that needs its own separate video and maybe
yeah.
videos. But yeah, this is what the representation was in Interstellar of a black hole. So it was very interesting, I thought.
And I remember I think someone in one of your comments was asking like or they were saying like they love like space photography and they were asking you how the colors come and things like that or like how they pick the colors and I think you're going to be making a video about that as well. So guys,
Yeah.
not only live streaming but Rose is also going to be working on like videos. So one of her first videos will be sharing some space photography and explaining, how it was taken, which satellite was used to take it with. And for me, the most fascinating part is like, how do they come up with the colors?
Yeah, absolutely. Like fascinating topic. So I'll be going over a few of my favorite space photography videos. Sorry,
Can I do a request because I'm your sister?
I feel like you've been the only you've been the requester. So yes, let's hear it.
Okay. Can you include the pillars of creation?
Oh, that's a great one. I love
That
that
I know
one.
it's such a fascinating photo. And like I look at it and I'm like, how did they like where did they come up with the colors, right? I don't know. To me, it's just super cool.
So I will definitely include that one. I almost want to show it now, but I don't because I want people to wait for the video where we'll go over it. But
Yeah. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. I don't
okay.
see, guys. This is the problem. Like this stuff is literally like Rose knows this stuff like the back of her hand. So it's like she wants to get into it, but no. Let's go to the actual. Look, honestly, this is my fault. I've been distracting you from watching the documentary because this is like a fear of mine. So I'm literally trying to avoid watching it.
No worries.
Oh,
No worries at all. But I think I accidentally stopped my share screen, so I'm gonna reshare that. But let's take a look at the poll. So why don't you tell me what most people think is gonna happen to our
I know
sun?
how to read, Rose. I'm not like just because I'm not science literate doesn't mean I don't know how to read. It literally says right there. Why don't you tell me?
Okay. Red giant. Interesting. Okay, so we have 46% of people who think it's going to become a red giant. So we'll find out.
Okay, wait. What's
Everybody,
the red giant? Was I right in my description of the red giant?
where you said it expands?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I was right. Yes. Guys, even when we're taking a
kind
class
of in the
field
name.
trip, Goldie is always right.
It's kind of in the name though, like giant, like
Yeah, but I also said it cools down.
okay. Well, fine.
I remember that from the flame stuff because I learned that like when you're yeah, like when you're looking like when you're looking at a flame, right?
Okay.
The red part is actually cooler than the white part of the flame.
Do
I
you
remember
think
that.
the sun is burning like a fireball?
No, because there's no oxygen there.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, that was a trick question.
That was a trick question. Yeah. So there's no oxygen in space, so it's not burning like an actual fire.
So
It's
how's it burning?
nuclear fusion. It's basically like a big nuclear reactor in space.
I'm trying to get away from the nuclear boom boom stuff. Why do you do this to me?
Yeah, well, this was the original nuclear boom boom. Well, actually, not the original one, but yeah. So, yeah, more nuclear stuff for you there.
All right. So Rose, why don't you stop the poll and then remove it from the screen?
Okay.
Guys, we're also still learning some technical stuff here, so
Yes. Okay.
and don't worry, if Rose doesn't know what she's doing, I'll just turn off my screen and I'll just pop into her video like I did last time because teleportation and stuff.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Are we good to go?
Oh my
I
god.
hope. Can you let me know if you can hear the audio from it when it starts?
Yeah, but you know what? Give me a moment. Let me just because I know you said like the format here is a little different. So let me just do something really quick. I'm just going to change the layout really quickly so that it's easier to view. I wouldn't do this normally, but it's only because you said the formatting is weird.
Yeah.
So, all good.
Can I play it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
The sun.
Let's go like that.
A cosmic beacon of life.
Can you hear that?
Painting our sky with its incandescent glow.
You can pause and you can ask the audience if they ask your viewers if they hear it too.
Can you guys hear the video?
You always have to give it like 10 or 15 seconds because there's a little bit of a lag. Oh yeah, we're good to go. Okay, so go back to the beginning now because I interrupted. There you go.
You always interrupt.
I know.
The sun, a cosmic beacon of life, painting our sky with its incandescent glow, nurturing all existence as we know it. At first blush, it's just a radiant disk, a point in the heavens that can be masked by a simple gesture of your thumb. Yet, it's incomprehensible might can scorch the ground beneath your feet, burn the retina of your eyes, and even crisp your skin with
I
its
did that as a
luminous
child
glare.
once.
For over 4.5
Excuse me? You did what as a child?
I looked at the sun. Like, you know when they're like, don't look at the sun because it'll burn your retinas? I would just be like, no, I'm gonna look at the sun directly and I'm not gonna, like, nothing's gonna happen. So as a child, I would do that a few times. It was terrible.
That explains a lot. I'm not surprised.
No, there's people in the chat who did it too.
Did you watch the solar eclipse last year?
I did. You got me sunglasses, like the solar eclipse glasses.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
so I
So you
actually
did use glasses for that, right? You didn't just look at it?
no, I used yeah.
You used the glasses.
Yeah, so I was actually still a politician at the time, so I watched the solar eclipse from the steps of Queen's Park outside. It was a pretty cool experience. It got
Yeah.
really, really dark.
billion years, the Earth has bathed in the sun's tender luminance, the cradle where life has bloomed and blossomed. But even this behemoth is not immune to the march of time. When I first learned that the sun will one day die, I was gripped with a profound sense of loss.
Okay, he said sense of loss, not he was terrified.
Existential dread. It wasn't like I was running around screaming. I'm just saying it was like this existential dread. You know, sense of loss is, you know, can say the same thing, express the same thing.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, so many like ancient religions, for example, are based around the sun. It was one of the only constants, right? So that's understandable why maybe it's built in our DNA in a way for us to be so attached to this big bright ball of gas in the sky.
How could something so colossal, so relentless ever cease to be? I'll never forget that feeling, shattering my childish dreams of eternity.
Yeah.
But the truth is that the universe long predates the sun's birth, and
do you feel like you're being validated right now?
Yes, I'm like I'm being validated right now. Like this was exactly the fear that I had.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well,
because
the other thing as well is like for us, in, you know, in our timeline, in our reality, the sun has always been a constant, right? Like literally, no matter what happens, the sun always rises from the east and always sets on the west. And that has been the foundation of so many like philosophical theories and science theories and like, you know, so many things, right? Like the one constant, the I could say the one constant that unites all of us as humanity is the certainty of the sun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. So someone, sorry, last time told me when I paused to go back a couple seconds, and I'm gonna remember to do that.
Shattering my childish dreams of eternity. But the truth is that the universe long predates the sun's birth, and it will persist long after its twilight. And yet, in its transience, the sun remains our star, our beacon, our source. In many ways, it's akin to a cherished guardian, and I believe that we all owe it to our sun to know its life, its story, its eventual sacrifice. To me, one of the most extraordinary achievements of contemporary science is that we can forecast the sun's fate with high confidence, tracing its destiny not just millions, but billions of years into the future. It is a tale which should be etched into our collective consciousness, a testament to our scientific ingenuity, and a prophecy about planetary home's destiny. Let's start with the sun as we know her today. Our sun is a 2 trillion quadrillion metric ton assemblage of hot ionized gas, comprised of 70% hydrogen by mass and the remainder largely helium.
Yeah, I was right, no oxygen. I was right, no oxygen.
Yes, the sun is not made up of oxygen. You are absolutely correct. You're so smart.
rather than a planet is the fact that it produces enormous amounts of energy through the process of nuclear fusion occurring deep within its core.
So someone is asking, how old is the sun? So the sun is 4.6 billion years old. Last time I checked, a couple years ago. And
A couple
years ago, so it's probably like around the same approximately. Which actually, Goldie, it is. Sorry, I need to backtrack. This question is from Assassinator X9, who asked, "How old is the sun?" And so the sun is 4.9 billion years old. And
wait, 4.6 or 4.9?
4.6 billion years old, and it's actually around its like midlife, so it's like halfway through its lifespan. So it's getting up there, Goldie. Like it's, it's
Hey, I'm middle-aged as well. So what? I'm getting up there. So basically, the sun is middle-aged.
not
Like
middle
you're
aged.
saying. Yeah, I am. I'm 41. That's middle-aged.
41's like the new 20. You're fine. But yeah, so it's about halfway through its lifespan. So yeah, it's only got another half to go. So, clock's ticking for the
It's
sun.
having a midlife crisis. Also, Rose, if you see any comments or questions that you want to respond to like after, just if you hover over the comment and you'll see like a star,
Yes.
just click on the star and you can make yourself a list to go through afterwards as well.
Good call. Thanks for that reminder, Goldie.
Amounts of energy through the process of nuclear fusion occurring
You're
deep
go
within
back
its
some
core,
seconds, remember?
where the pressure and temperature spike, reaching 265 billion Earth atmospheres.
You're supposed to go back a few seconds when you pause, remember, to restart. Did
Okay.
you?
Yeah, but
No, because I didn't see the floating planet that's going into the
okay.
sun.
Sorry. Okay. I didn't go back far enough.
It's okay. You can just use your arrows and then you're good.
Rather than a planet is the fact that it produces enormous amounts of energy through the process of nuclear fusion occurring deep within its core, where the pressure and temperature
Nuclear fusion, Goldie.
spike, reaching 265 billion Earth atmospheres and 15 million Kelvin. In a series of steps known as the proton-proton chain, 4 hydrogen atomic nuclei are hot enough to overcome their mutual electrostatic repulsion and bind together.
Okay, so I know I should know this, but can you explain to me the difference between a proton, a neutron, a positron, gamma ray, and neutrino? Like just but in very like basic terms, right? Like I know like protons are positive and neutrons are neutral. I don't know. Is that like
So every so proton is, so a hydrogen atom has one proton, and it's basically one of the particles that makes up a nucleus of an atom. So like the center.
the center part? That's the center part and then you got like the spinny rings around it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so because the sun is mostly made up of hydrogen, which has one proton, you can basically say that the sun is like a big giant ball of protons. And so when the sun does fusion, when the nuclear fusion happens, it's taking the protons and then eventually turning them into helium, which is that other 30% that the sun is made up of.
Okay.
That makes sense. And so a neutron then is similar to a proton, except it doesn't have any sort of charge. So there's no electric charge associated with it. So sorry, protons are positively charged. I should mention that. Neutrons are neutral. And then the next one is positron. So can you guess?
I would say that has a positive electrical charge.
So a positron is basically like an anti-electron. So an electron has a negative charge and a proton has a positive charge. So does that make sense?
You know what? I think you'll probably have to make like another video at some point,
Okay.
just sort of like explaining this, right? Kind of like a like
Like,
like an atom proton 101 or something.
okay. But I could I like that gamma ray is here because
Yeah.
I am Rose Gamma Ray. So gamma
So what's
rays,
a gamma ray?
yeah. So gamma rays are basically like pure energy. Um, it's not any sort of matter, and it's basically like a type of light, and it's like the highest form of energy light that exists in the universe as far as we know. And so it's kind of like for example, we see visible light. There's also like radio waves and microwaves and infrared and X-rays and gamma rays. So it's on the electromagnetic spectrum, and then the gamma rays are on the far end of that, so right at the end, and it's like the highest energy form of light in the universe.
What's the opposite of gamma ray?
I believe it's radio wave.
Radio waves. Okay. Makes sense because we're able to like, well, we can't hear them, but we're able to process them into radios
Yeah.
with through the
So
antennas.
Shaggy of 138 says gamma rays are my favorite type of rays. Me too. Same.
You're in the right place.
Yeah, you are in the right place. Okay. Shall we? Oh, some people are saying radar is lower. Interesting. Okay, maybe I will have
Should
to
look
look
into
at.
that.
Yeah. Okay, let us continue.
Forging 1 helium. Whilst this might seem like mere rearrangement, it was Einstein who proved that this actually releases positive energy. For we begin with 4 hydrogen nuclei that have a cumulative mass of 6.694 quadrillionths of a nanogram, but at the end we have 1 helium with a mass of 6.646 quadrillionths of a nanogram.
Oh,
In
wait,
the
wait, wait.
bookkeeping of the
Can you
universe,
pause for a
8
second? Can you go back to the image of the atom? I remember something from like my science high school days. So yeah. No. Yeah, that one. So isn't it true that like every like, the nucleus, so the center of the atom, it has to have like equal number of like protons and like the neutrons. And if it doesn't have an equal number, then that's where things get like spicy, right? In terms of like boom booms or things like that. Like it becomes unstable.
I think uh I think so. So as atoms get bigger, they usually need extra neutrons, I think, because there's I need to look into this a
No,
little.
so no, I'm totally wrong. So okay, so Rose, keep in mind, sometimes like if I ask you a question and you're totally confused, it's not
Yeah.
because you don't know the answer. It's because literally like I have no idea what I'm talking about. So no, I just looked it up and apparently an atomic nucleus does not need to have an equal number of protons and electrons. So remember, like you're dealing with someone who knows like no science stuff. So if I ask you a question, it's because like I'm literally remembering things and I don't know if it's true or not. So there you go.
Yeah, I should look up how like the science behind boom booms. I feel like
Yeah,
that
you
would.
be put on a list.
And have you seen Oppenheimer actually? Because it actually goes into that.
I did. I saw Oppenheimer in theaters.
You did. What
Mhm.
was interesting to me is as part of that experiment, they actually didn't know whether the chain reaction of setting off the atom bomb would actually like explode, like light the whole sky on fire and destroy the earth. Like there was always, it was never not like, it was never certain that that wouldn't happen. So there was always a possibility that that would happen, and they still went forward with doing that test anyway. So Okay, let's continue.
So I was dealing with a troll in your chat that came and said, "God bless comedy."
I saw that, but I was ignoring it. How are these people coming here? It's your fault.
It's totally my fault. I'm sorry. I literally I have like 6 months worth of trolls that I need to. Don't worry. I banned the person, but I'm like going back. Like how much of a loser do you have to be that you literally come onto like his space channel to like post like Islamic regime propaganda? Oh no.
You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Those are your fans, not
Oh
mine.
god. No, not fans, trolls. It's okay. It's okay. But we're here to learn. All right.
6/quadrillionths of a nanogram. In the bookkeeping of the universe, a tiny slither of mass was somehow lost, converted into neutrinos and pure energy via equals mc squared. This is why our sun shines. Indeed, because of this process, it is gradually losing mass, about 4 million tons per second, which...
So what he's basically saying is that the energy that's lost through the E equals mc squared is what creates the light. So that's the sunlight that we receive when that mass is converted into energy.
Okay. Yeah, no, but no, that makes sense. I was just thinking about how to like understand that. So kind of like the solar flares are even like brighter bursts of light because there's more energy in them or something. So the light comes from
So this is
the reaction within the sun.
yeah. So the E equals mc squared equation is what's converting the mass to energy, and then the energy is in the form of sunlight that we get from that when that reaction happens in the sun, that's the sunlight that comes to earth and everywhere else really, and that's the sunlight that we receive.
Okay.
Fortunately, is negligible compared to its total mass. Particles of light, photons, that are produced in the core have a difficult journey to actually reach the stellar surface though. All of the energy production occurs within the core, a spherical region about twice the diameter of Jupiter or 20% that of the Sun overall. It's only here where the conditions are extreme enough for nuclear fusion, and so the rest of the Sun is really just the entourage, an envelope of hot gas that's gravitationally bound to the core. But this envelope is sufficiently hot that it's not really a gas, but rather a plasma. That means that the electrons associated with each atom are so hot that they become unbounded. They can wander around as essentially vagabond electrons. Photons are constantly being absorbed and re-emitted by this soup of charged particles, meaning they sometimes only travel a millimeter before being halted in their tracks. Once re-emitted, the photon path is a new random direction, and so the photon has to randomly zigzag around the envelope like a drunkard leaving the bar. Consequently, it can take tens or even hundreds of thousands of years for this photon to finally emerge from the sun's surface, although, of course, this isn't really even the same photon anymore. In total, the sun's core produces a staggering 400 billion quadrillion joules per second, which is 20 trillion times more power than humanity uses. It equates to a ridiculous 10 to the 45 photons per second. Much like a solar sail that's being pushed by radiation pressure, this vast army of photons push against the gas envelope around the core.
Did you catch what that zigzagging meant?
So, if I you'll have to explain it to me, but I think what he means is like when like the nuclear reaction happens, it releases these photons, and then those photons start like going around, and then they're zigzagging between the different atoms until they make it out, and then that vibration is what causes the light? I don't know. Is that
So you're definitely on the right track. So
okay?
he was explaining that so the energy that's created in the core of the sun, like it's because it's so dense inside the sun, the photons don't just fly straight out and like come directly to Earth. They get absorbed, they get re-emitted, absorbed again. So each time they're like sent off in a random direction, all like while they're still inside the sun. And then eventually, once they get to the surface of the sun, that's when it takes about 8 minutes for that particular photon to reach Earth. So you might have heard like the fact before that it takes 8 minutes for the light of the sun to reach Earth. And that's true, but that's only, like, I want to say the last leg of the journey when the photon's already at the surface and kind of ready to like escape and like nothing's in its path anymore and it's coming to Earth. But up until that point, like it could go through, you know, a wild journey for like years and years
Yeah, the
inside.
guy just said over 100,000 years
Yeah.
sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like this, like it's like the inside of the sun is a pinball machine, and it's just like going doo, 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 and it's like going all around until eventually it makes its way out.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
55 photons per second. Much like a solar sail that's being pushed by radiation pressure, this vast army of photons push against the gas envelope around the core. The sun's resulting radius of about 700,000 kilometers is thus set by the balancing act of this outward radiation pressure and the inward force of gravity, a balancing act that is called hydrostatic equilibrium. So intense is this outward force that the inner 70% of the envelope, known as the radiative zone, experiences minimal mixing of material, and everything is simply being pushed outwards by photonic pressure. Beyond that, the pressure drops off enough that we start to see convection patterns forming, where packets of hydrogen gas can swirl around. The radiative zone, in fact, contributes to the eventual death of our sun. Because of it, fresh hydrogen that sat on the surface cannot make its way down to the core.
You're on mute.
Thank you, Goldie. So I just wanted to comment about what he explained previously about so there's two things that's kind of keeping the sun together in a way. So there's gravity that's pulling everything inwards, and that's just, you know, because of the sheer mass of the sun. But then the fusion that's happening and like the reactions because of the nuclear fusion, which is producing the energy, is pushing everything outwards. So these two forces working together is kind of what keeps the sun stable, because of these two forces kind of balancing each other out.
The engine room of the star. If the core would only calm down its violent outward radiative force, then it could be resupplied with fresh fuel. It could live trillions of years longer. But our star has no interest in calming down. Our sun chooses violence. With the present-day sun established, let's now look ahead into the future. On a graph of output power, also known as luminosity, versus the surface temperature, the sun currently lives here. The sun's location is a fairly ordinary place to live, with many stars inhabiting this diagonal line, which is known as the main sequence. But as we march forward in time, the sun will eventually depart. The sun began life with being about 3/4 hydrogen by mass, much like the rest of the universe. But today, the inner core is only about 1/3 hydrogen, with the rest having been converted into helium already. But crucially, that helium does not engage in any subsequent fusion, because even within the bowels of our modern-day sun, it's simply not hot enough for that to happen. Instead, the helium simply sinks to the center of our star, accumulating its inert helium ash. Now, because helium is denser than hydrogen, the core too gets denser, gradually contracting over time. When you compress a hot gas, the temperature and pressure must rise, and so it is too for the core. The efficiency of nuclear fusion is highly sensitive to temperature and pressure, so ramping these up leads to more fusion and hence more energy production. Yet more, the fusion zone is no longer limited to the very inner sanctums of the core.
So Goldie, this part, it's basically explaining about how, like, the reason why the sun has like this limited lifespan, like part of that is because like the blue circle that you see is the spot where that fusion is happening because it's like so hot and dense, and that's what's causing the reaction. So all of the hydrogen that's further out of that can't really be used in that reaction for that fusion process. So even though there's a lot of hydrogen that exists within the sun, there's only a certain component of it that can actually be used for that reaction.
That's not you. That's not you. That's me. So okay. Um so I get that there's a lot of hydrogen within the inside of the sun. Oh, some of it can be used and some of it can't. And I guess the reason that the sun is dying is because some of it can't be used. Is that what you're saying?
Well, partially, but like not all of the hydrogen in the sun can be used because like the part that's required, the part that's hot enough and dense enough for the nuclear fusion to take place is like right at the center. So where you see that blue spot right in the middle of the picture where it says fusion zone. So
Yeah.
any hydrogen that's in that area can be used for that reaction, but anything outside of that is just, it's not as hot as it needs to be for fusion to take place. So it can't keep going at that point. So it just runs out of fuel eventually once it's all kind of used up at that point. So even though there's still a lot of hydrogen left in a way, it's not.
It doesn't meet the conditions to turn it into fuel.
Yeah.
And that's why like the hydrogen outside can't make it inside because it's like this barrier or whatever.
Right. So like it just can't access that hydrogen there.
Wow. Okay.
But now becomes efficient further away from the center. So to recap, we have a growing pile of helium ash in the center of our sun, with some hydrogen fusion still occurring there despite the depleting amounts of fuel. Surrounded by that, we have a radially expanding zone of new fusion regions. And all of that is, of course, encompassed within the core itself, which is slowly contracting and thus increasing in
Rose?
temperature and pressure.
Okay, so I have to make a call, but I want you to keep on playing the live stream. I'm going to be watching in the chat because I still like I want to know what's going on here. But
I'm gonna test you after.
Hmm?
I'm gonna test you after, so you better.
That's fine. You can test me all you want, but yeah, I'll be back in about like 10-15 minutes. To everyone in the chat, remember, Goldie has eyes everywhere, so I'll be watching all of you. But yeah, okay, I'll be back in like 10-15 minutes. But I'll be watching on my phone while I make my call. See you guys soon.
Put this all together and it causes the sun to gradually increase in luminosity over time. In fact, the sun has already increased in output by about 20% since its birth, and in about 1 billion years from now, it will become sufficiently luminous that the Earth's biosphere will likely shut down. Some single-celled organisms might cling on in the years that follow, but complex life is largely done for at this point. The reasons here are nuanced, and for more I recommend checking out our Watching the End of the Earth video. So the solar core is getting...
Ooh, there's a video recommendation. Maybe we should watch that next, guys. Wait, what was it called?
out at watching the end of the Earth
Watching
video.
the end of the
So
world.
the solar core is getting smaller and more luminous. How does the envelope around it respond? By pumping more
Oops.
energy into the gas envelope around the core, the gas puffs up. And so the sun is actually getting slightly larger in size over time, averaging at about 14 centimeters per year. Now, many of you have probably heard that the sun will one day become a giant star, but this is not that, at least not yet. The sun here is still classified as a normal star, moving slightly up the main sequence as it ages. Flash forward 5 billion years into the future, and the sun finally starts to leave the main sequence. But strap yourselves in, folks, because from here on out, the changes become much more dramatic. As the sun ages,
Yeah, so so as the sun is aging, because of the helium buildup in the core due to the use of the hydrogen, and because helium is more dense than hydrogen, the core starts to contract. And when the core is contracting, that's when the temperature and the pressure is increasing. And so that higher temperature and pressure is what makes the fusion process happen faster, which is also why the sun is producing more energy. And so that's why it's kind of getting a little bit bigger and a little bit brighter the older it gets.
and exhausts its supply of hydrogen in the core, nuclear fusion migrates outwards, forming a shell around the increasingly dense helium core. This hydrogen-burning shell is not only more voluminous than the original core, thereby providing more fuel for fusion, but it is also stimulated by the higher temperatures and pressures caused by the core's contraction. Consequently, these conditions allow the shell-burning core to produce even more energy than before and thus increase the sun's luminosity further. In a way, the core kind of eats itself from the inside out. And in this shell burning phase, the sun is now firmly off the main sequence. In fact, we would classify it now as a subgiant. As a subgiant, the sun has a luminosity 2 to 3 times that of today. All of this extra energy gets dumped into the envelope, which has two knock-on effects. First, that extra energy leads to greater levels of ionization in the envelope surrounding the core, which in turn means the envelope is more effective at stopping photons light in its track, and thus we end up with a greater opacity. An analogy would be if you just switched from wearing a cotton shirt to a denim one. You would feel a lot warmer as a result. Now, if you're a gas, that extra warmth causes you to puff up. On top of that, there's a second effect. The increased luminosity causes greater radiation pressure to the envelope, which pushes out harder and again causes the envelope to puff up further. Put together, the sun will reach about twice its current size during the subgiant phase, causing the surface to slightly cool down from its current value of 5500 Kelvin to about 5000 Kelvin. As a result, the sun would still be a largely yellowish white disk, but it would take on a slightly more orange hue. The sun will remain a subgiant for about 1 billion years. It's interesting to ponder the fate of Mars during this time.
Was that from The Martian, guys? That shot? Has anyone seen The Martian?
Years. It's interesting to ponder the fate of Mars during this time.
I think that's from The Martian. But yeah, I guess let's see what they're gonna say about Mars. But you know, if once the sun gets like twice as big as it currently is in the subgiant phase, you know, the Earth is not going to be a fun spot to live in. So, I mean, I know Goldie's worried about the sun not existing at one point, but well beyond before that even happens, like Earth is going to be way in uninhabitable. So Goldie, if you're actually watching, sorry to break it to you, but I think we have to figure out a plan for Earth way before, you know, we worry about what happens to the sun.
Although it has a thin atmosphere, the polar caps may melt, releasing carbon dioxide and water. For a time, Mars may become the most habitable planet in the solar system, long after life has died on Earth. The subgiant phase will appear relatively peaceful compared to what's about to come next, for the Sun is about to go full giant mode. For the past 11 billion years, the Sun has been gradually accumulating helium ash in its center. As this helium-rich core contracts under the relentless vice of gravity, the pressure there has been increasing higher and higher, squeezing the core ever more. Up to now, resistance to that squeezing has largely come from thermal pressure of the helium itself, but as the core contracts further, a new force, one predicted by quantum mechanics, begins to play a role. According to the Pauli exclusion principle, fermions, which include the electrons in the helium core, cannot occupy the same energy state in the same space. When the pressure becomes great enough for this principle to come into effect, the core contraction slows significantly. The helium enters a state of so-called electron degeneracy, where the outward pressure from this quantum mechanical effect exceeds the normal thermal pressure and thus halts further compression. In a sense, the helium says enough is enough and refuses to shrink any further. Degenerate matter has a rather curious property. Usually, with an ordinary ideal gas, if you heat it up, the gas will expand and thus cool. In this way, it's almost self-regulating. But for a degenerate gas, we have the bizarre situation where increasing the temperature doesn't increase the pressure, because that pressure is being supplied by the Pauli exclusion principle, not by thermal pressure. As a result, the gas doesn't expand, it doesn't cool down, it just gets hotter. Consequently, the hydrogen shell around the degenerate helium core gets hotter, leading to an increase in the fusion rate and thus energy production. The transition to a degenerate core means the Sun is no longer classed as a subgiant, but now instead is a red giant star. Of course, all of this is going on inside the core, but for anyone still around in the solar system, they didn't be able to see the surface of the Sun, the outer envelope. Whereas during the...
Okay, so guys, this part, he's basically saying that, so as the helium in the Sun's core is getting crushed by gravity, the denser and denser it gets, at some point, the regular pressure from gas isn't the main thing that's resisting gravity anymore. And this is when quantum mechanics steps in. And so this is the stage where gravity is trying to crush the Sun's core, and quantum mechanics is basically saying, like, no. And I believe that's where the degenerate pressure, degeneracy pressure is coming in.
The subgiant phase, the luminosity approximately doubled versus the modern value. During the giant phase, the luminosity really takes off, increasing by up to 1,000 times more powerful. That is a colossal amount of energy that's being deposited into this outer envelope of gas, which accordingly balloons up in response. Like before, both increased ionization and radiation pressure drive the growth, but now it reaches a runaway condition. The star will swell to a gargantuan size, 200 to 300 times its current diameter.
I think this is the part Goldie's scared about, maybe.
Although there's still some debate on the matter, simulations show that it is indeed likely that the Sun will grow so large it will one day engulf the Earth during this time. It's worth remembering that the Earth was forged from the leftover scraps of material from the violence that birthed our star. We are the crumbs that fell beneath the table, if you will. And for billions of years, the Earth was a planet, a unique, separate, distinct, and wonderful world. But all that time, in a way, the Sun has been greedily eyeing us up, waiting for its moment to hoover back up those crumbs in an act of terrifying gluttony. For in this period,
Okay, so yeah, he's basically saying, like, at this point, this is when the Sun's gonna engulf and essentially swallow up Earth. Although, again, like well beyond this happens, Earth is already going to become uninhabitable long before this. So we got other problems, guys, that we need to figure out. Hopefully we'll be long gone to, you know, maybe another planet, another galaxy, you know, another dimension at this point if we want to save humanity. But yeah.
Mercury, Venus, and the Earth will all be swallowed whole by their mother star, a final reminder of her awesome power. On a graph of luminosity versus temperature, which, by the way, is often called the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram, the Sun now heads towards a 2 o'clock position along a track known as the Red Giant Branch, or RGB. What this really means is that it increases in luminosity but decreases in surface temperature. Yes, I appreciate the reverse axis here is confusing, but that's just the way astronomers like it. The surface has cooled, of course, because of this huge increase in size, so now the temperature drops to something like 3,000 to 4,000 Kelvin. Not only would the sun literally fill our entire sky during this time, but its color will have shifted to a red hue, somehow compounding its now terrifying condition. After a couple hundred million years or so, the helium core has grown considerably thanks to this increased luminosity. Now, thus far, throughout the entire history of the sun's lifetime, this helium has been nothing more than useless, inert ash, essentially just dead weight. But as this helium has accumulated, the outer hydrogen core has contracted and increased in temperature, pushing the helium core to over 100 million Kelvin. It's at this point that the helium nuclei, which physicists often call alpha particles, can now start to fuse together in a nuclear reaction known as the triple alpha process, since it takes 3 of them for this to occur. The net product.
Hi, welcome back, Goldie.
I was watching. He was talking about the scary part.
About when the Earth gets engulfed.
Yeah. But
Deep breaths, Goldie.
oh my gosh. But you know, Rose, so this would be a good time because he just said what exactly is going to happen. If you bring up the poll that you made earlier, you can just show it on the screen. So he mentioned that the sun's going to turn into a red giant. And based on the poll that you put in the chat earlier, 45% of people said that, yeah, they guessed correctly.
We got a smart audience, Goldie. We got a smart group of folks here. So yeah, and for anyone who didn't get it right, you know, just stick around and you'll learn some fun science facts that you can use in trivia or for a fun party game.
Oh my gosh. Terrifying. Oh, that's like there's like an emoji in the YouTube chat that's like this face that's just like, ah, that's me right now, literally. Oh.
You look exactly like it.
Triple alpha process, since it takes 3 of them for this to occur. The net product is carbon, the atomic element, which is of course central to all known life. Now remember that the core is degenerate though, supported.
Yeah, so he mentioned carbon, and carbon is essentially like the backbone of life as we know it. You know, there could be other life forms that are made with something else, but as far as we know, carbon is the backbone of life, and so our bodies are carbon based. And when we talk about stars making carbon, we're literally talking about like the building blocks of what makes life possible, and like it's the chemistry that goes behind the creation of life. So when they say, you know, we're made of stardust, that's kind of where that comes from.
Now, maybe topic for another live stream, but that's really interesting that every single life form that we are aware of is carbon based.
Yes.
But that's because we're just limited to what we know in our on Earth.
You really want to do Alien Revolution Live?
Well, President Trump released like alien videos, so I don't know. At some point, we need to talk about that. But anyways,
yes. But yeah, absolutely. Like, there could be a planet where people are walking around made, from acid. Like, who knows? Like, it could be anything. But from what we know, that's which is not much, honestly, in the grand scheme of things. This is what we have concluded to date.
Okay.
Not by thermal pressure, but by the stronger Pauli exclusion principle. When helium...
Oops. Sorry, I don't know what happened.
Technical difficulties. Ooh. Should we do an intermission?
No, I got this back shortly. Okay, I got it. Sorry, folks.
That's okay. I do it all the time.
Share screen. Okay.
Thermal pressure, but by the stronger Pauli exclusion principle. When helium fusion starts, the temperature of the helium core shoots up. Usually, a gas would expand and cool, self-regulating these nuclear reactions.
Rose?
Remember, for a degenerate...
He kind of looks like Armin.
Oh my!
Like Armin when he had like the curly hairstyle. I swear to God, he looks like Armin. He's reminding me of Armin.
He's an honorary Armin.
Oh, yeah, it's Professor Navabi, guys. It's Professor Navabi.
If Johnny Detroit says if Armin was an emo. Quill 76 says all he needs is the Armin voice. Good eye. I was thinking in the back of my head, like, this person is reminding me of someone. And I wasn't.
Yeah, well, okay, let me pull up Armin's like older picture. This is the photo he uses when he's like when he wants to share like older pictures of him when he had curly hair. Come on. Tell me that this does not look like Armin. Wait. Let me pull this up here. Let me share my screen.
Noon 11 says 3 days grace, Armin.
Emo Armin. Look at this. Look at guys. I'm telling you, it's Armin.
Wait, how do you do a side by side?
I don't know. You would probably have to like, I don't know, make like an image and then do like a screenshot. You know what, actually? I don't know how to do a side by side. I don't think you can screen share 2 screens at the same time. So the only way you could do a side by side if you took a screenshot of this and then took a screenshot of the video and then like made like an image in Canva and then like uploaded that. But
okay, that's good to know. Maybe send me that picture and I'll do a side by side.
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now.
Degenerate core, the temperature of the helium core shoots up. Usually, a gas would expand and cool, self-regulating these nuclear reactions. But remember, for a degenerate core, it won't grow larger in size when we add more heat to it, because degeneracy pressure is much greater than the thermal pressure. Instead, it just gets hotter. As you make the core get hotter, you get more nuclear fusion, which means more heat and there's more nuclear fusion, and you have a runaway reaction. For billions of years, the sun has been sat on a metaphorical powder keg of gasoline, and now it has lit the match. For just a few seconds, the core luminosity of the sun will reach 100 billion times its current output, comparable to the luminosity of our entire galaxy. Sadly, this last effort is somewhat in vain, as from the outside there's no dramatic brightening. with the envelope insulating the cosmos from the fiery drama within its core. Although there's no fireworks, the helium flash is a vital lifeline for the sun. Because of the huge energy deposited in its core, thermal pressure now once again can exceed degeneracy pressure. We go back to normal gas laws, and the core can burn at a steady, more civilized pace once again. For the sun, an ever larger degenerate core was the sign of aging, like more wrinkles on our face. But in a moment, it's all washed away, and the sun is given a second life, rejuvenated as a helium-burning star.
So this is basically what its second life, where it's stabilized again, and it's just kind of, I guess, settling down into like the last phase of the lifespan. Or it's already gone at this point.
So like Earth's already gone at the, like we're all pretty much dead and gone. Like human civilization is
well, I don't want to say that. Like I don't want to say we're dead, but like, this is going to happen so far into the future. If humanity survives, that far into the future, there, could be other alternatives. Like,
well, that's what Elon Musk is working towards, basically. Like Elon Musk is working towards like how do we begin colonizing other planets, because like eventually the Earth will die, and if we want to survive as a species, we're gonna have to learn how to like go somewhere else.
Exactly. So yeah, like Earth as we know it today is going to be gone at this point, but again, like we're talking like billions of years into the future. Like we haven't even been around for that long, like a few 100,000 years, like as we know it. The human race has been around, which is like, I don't know, a tiny blip in the lifespan of not only the universe, but like our own sun. So like we're talking way, way into the future.
This all occurs in some 7 billion years from now, at which point the sun has left the red giant branch and has now entered what is called the red clump, or the horizontal branch. The sun shrinks back down from the unsustainable tip of its red giant branch size to a more respectable diameter of about 10 times the modern value. It's not quite the star it once was, though, having shed 10 to 20% of its mass via the ejection of outer layers and increased stellar winds. Nevertheless, the surface temperature climbs back up to around 4,000 Kelvin, giving it an orangey reddish hue, and the core now steadily burns away, producing about 50 times.
I have something to show you, Goldie.
Oh my gosh.
Not bad, right?
I told you that guy looks like Armin. Okay. So for everyone who's here from like the Iran Revolution Live community, or from Armin's channel or my channel, so guys, don't tell Armin. Don't tell Armin. So tomorrow, this is our secret, okay? Tomorrow, when we start Iran Revolution Live, everyone just say like, "Hello, Professor Navabi," and I'll introduce Armin as Professor Navabi. And he'll be so confused. No, don't tell him. Don't ruin the surprise. We'll just all call him Professor Navabi.
Love it. Ask him questions about the sun tomorrow.
Yeah,
like
no. I actually start a few questions here. So like these are the questions that we can ask Armin tomorrow. Like, will we ever see space jihadis in our lifetime? Can we send all the jihadi Durkas to the sun? Someone should also ask Armin tomorrow. Did they ever see Khomeini's face in the sun? Someone needs to ask him. Did they ever see Khomeini's face in the sun? So
that's so funny.
He'll be so confused. Oh, that's so good. You have to send me that photo after.
Okay.
Oh no. Well, Omid, you're bad. Omid's like, ask him about Pluto Stein.
You mean Bluto Stein?
Pluto Stein. Oh, that's so good.
hue, and the core now steadily burns away, producing about 50 times the modern luminosity. This is an interesting phase for the sun. In the center, we have helium fusing into carbon via the triple alpha process and thus depositing carbon ash in the core. But around that, we still have hydrogen shell burning occurring too, using the proton-proton chain. The red clump sun has a much smaller supply of helium than it ever did of hydrogen, and so this phase will be far shorter, hundreds of millions of years rather than the 10 billion year main sequence lifetime that the sun enjoyed before. From here on out, events will play out eerily similar to before. I can almost imagine the sun wishing to remain here longer, pretending to be a young normal star once again, the Pinocchio of the cosmos, kicking and screaming at the fearful prospect of having to return back to those agonizing days as a giant star. But that is indeed its fate. As the carbon ash accumulates, the core contracts further, increasing the temperature and pressure. With the core depleted of helium, the helium fusion region shifts from the core to shell burning just like before, enabled by these increased temperatures. The core luminosity increases, and the red clump sun swells in size once again. As before, the core eventually becomes degenerate, causing the temperatures there to spike. History repeating itself, but this time it's with helium in place of hydrogen. In about 7.7 billion years from now, the sun will once again swell into a giant, a phase known as the asymptotic giant branch, or a.
You know, this is terrifying. This is terrifying.
Asymptotic giant branch.
I'm absolutely terrified right now. I know it's 7.7 billion years. I can't even fathom that amount of time. But it's still terrifying for me. Like, I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight.
Yeah, so basically at this point in the life cycle, the sun essentially, it can't get hot enough to fuse carbon because it's just lost a lot of its mass. So that's why it's kind of moved into this phase of the lifetime of the life cycle.
GB. Rather than steadily climbing this branch, it's often punctuated by violent thermal pulses, almost like convulsions of the star as the helium shell burning wanes in and out. It would be heartbreaking to see the sun in this dreadful state, ripping itself apart in fits and bursts. At its height, the sun will be up to 400 times its present-day size and 5,000 times more luminous. During the last giant phase, the sun was saved by the onset of helium fusion. But
wait, the sun already went through a giant phase?
Yeah, several. Like not today, like before it gets to this stage of life, like it's gone through several phases where it's expanded. But so it's just me, Tim 79 is asking supernova, but no, actually, so this is not a supernova because the sun is too small for that. So it's basically like the sun kind of like shutting itself and like tearing itself apart violently over time, but there's no like big massive explosion like a supernova for the sun.
This time around, there's no savior. The internal pressure and temperature of the sun will never be high enough for a carbon flash to occur. Instead, the sun will simply fuse away its remaining reserves of hydrogen and helium until eventually it simply sputters out. In coughs and regurgitations, the outer layers, which are tenuously held together by gravity, are finally released, causing the sun to lose almost half of its mass. All that's left now is the core, no longer fusing, but inert.
Is that what it's going to look like eventually?
Remnant. In around 8 billion years from now, the sun has now become what we would call a white dwarf. The dense carbon-rich core is all that remains in one piece. Although its mass is a respectable half a solar mass still, gravity has crushed the core down to a fully degenerate object of similar size to that of the Earth. It's so dense that a teaspoon of our sun at this point would weigh about the same as an elephant. Although fusion is over, and in many ways it's no longer really a
Wait, can we
star,
go back?
the surface of this remnant...
Sorry, so did I understand that properly? So like, okay, so the sun's okay, so let me see if I understand. So the sun has been expanding and contracting for a
So
while.
it expands into the red giant.
But then in the past, because of like carbon things, it's been able to contract back to like its regular size. But this has happened so much that now this time around, when that process begins, there's not enough carbon or helium or hydrogen or whatever to help it go back to its normal size. So it goes from like a red giant all of a sudden to like a white dwarf, which is weighs the same as an elephant.
So the sun doesn't expand and contract to like the size that it is now. So it's continuously expanding. And then it's going to expand to like its biggest size possible.
Wah, wah. Yeah, I'm getting the gravity of the situation.
And then once it gets to that stage and like it no longer like it kind of sputters out, as I think he mentioned, that's when it kind of like so it expands dramatically to that red giant stage, and then eventually when it sputters out, that's when the white dwarf stage starts to happen. And I think he's going to explain it now.
Okay, but wait. So then that means that in the poll, people who voted for white dwarf were also correct. Oh my god, Rose, this was a trick question. Oh my gosh. Okay, now I see. Wow. Look at that. Like, this was literally a trick question because when I was like, oh, Rose, you should make the poll, like supernova or black hole, she, being the, intelligent, smarty pants, aerospace engineer professional that she is, she included both red giant and white dwarf.
I probably should have included another option with
But you
both.
can't. It only gives you 4. It only gives you
really?
4 choices. Yeah, you can't.
4?
You can't do more than 4. But wow, smarty pants. Okay. That was a good poll. That was gives us a lot of food for thought there. Okay. Wow.
Of our sun at this point would weigh about the same as an elephant. Although fusion is over, and in many ways it's no longer really a star, the surface of this remnant is still incredibly hot, up to 100,000 Kelvin, and thus the luminosity is still a respectable 1% that of the modern value. The light produced by a 100,000 Kelvin object produces plenty of high energy photons that ionize the surrounding...
Yes.
Sorry. So I have a question for you. And I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, because I know I ask like the most random questions, but why do they use Kelvin and not like Celsius? I mean, I know why they don't use Fahrenheit, because Fahrenheit is like a weird fake temperature that like only Americans use, and like Fahrenheit makes like 0 sense to me. So I get that. Yes, I'm digging at all the Americans because I'm Canadian. But like why Kelvin versus like Celsius or even Fahrenheit, let's say. We'll be nice to the Americans here. But like why Kelvin over like Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Yeah, so with Kelvin, you get to use an absolute temperature scale. So there's something called absolute zero, which is basically the point where atoms have like no
They
thermal.
stop moving. Oh yeah, I remember that. They stop vibrating.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
So
gosh, like grade 10, grade 11 science or something. Yeah, okay, absolute zero.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's because of that absolute scale where Kelvin just like sometimes makes more sense, especially when it comes to science. So
Okay.
a lot of astronomers particularly prefer the Kelvin scale as opposed to like Celsius or Fahrenheit.
Okay. Now I see some people in the comments, they're also saying Kelvin has like a greater range. Is that true?
A greater range?
Like a greater like range of numbers, I guess, or like measurements or something?
I don't know what that means because I thought numbers were infinite.
Oh man. Whoa. Okay. Now don't get you're getting into like physics and like calculus. No, like the limit to infinity
No,
stuff.
maybe.
I don't know.
I actually don't know. I need to
Okay, but yeah, no, that I mean, it's just a question I have. Like, oh, so
yeah.
guys, the other thing as well is keep in mind, like, um, we ask all these questions. Obviously, like Rose isn't going to know the answer to every single question. That's not the point of this channel. The point of this channel is people ask questions. You know, Rose being the genius that she is, she finds the answer, but then she's able to explain it to the rest of us, like commoners, in like language that we understand, right? So, for example, like if I want to explain how heat is created, the only thing I know about how heat is created is that atoms vibrate. And the faster they
Well,
vibrate, the
a
more
lot of
heat it
people don't know
creates.
that. A lot of people might not know that. So I think,
Oh,
you got to give yourself more credit.
Goldie's always right. There you go, guys. Guys, I'm going to take over the gamma ray report. You know what? I'll say join the gamma ray report with Goldie Kamari, who has no like official science background, but her sister is an aerospace engineering professional. There you go. But I think that goes to the whole like the Kelvin scale because
Mm.
it's this is
So
like bringing back memories from high school. Like atoms stop moving, and that's like absolute zero because there's no vibrations, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so that's why like a lot of like physicists and astronomers prefer to use Kelvin and Kelvin actually doesn't go like under the zero. So like that's like zero, like it can't go negative basically. So it like starts at zero and then it just goes higher.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Because there's nothing lower or colder theoretically than when atoms are not moving. Like you just in I guess within the like within the framework or boundary of matter,
Yeah.
like once atoms stop moving, like that's it. So it's only at that point once they start moving and vibrating, then that's how heat is generated or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it.
Wow, see,
Like,
like guys, like even a commoner like me can kind of talk about space things. Look at that. Inertia is a property of matter. Bill. You know what? We should do a Bill Nye documentary. Like you should pick like one of your favorite episodes of Bill Nye. We should just like watch it. I think that'd be kind of cool.
yeah, we can definitely do that. I would love to. Okay.
An object produces plenty of high energy photons that ionize the surrounding layers of ejected gas that were once part of the sun. These disembodied layers continuously recombine with their electrons, producing visible light photons in a process known as fluorescence. Look up through a decent telescope at one of these stellar train wrecks and you'll be rewarded with beautiful sights of luminous nebulae, which are confusingly called planetary nebulae. The white dwarf is only luminous because of retained heat. There's no energy production, and so it will slowly radiate away all of that energy. Fortunately, the fact it's so damn small means that radiation is incredibly inefficient, and so it should remain respectably luminous for billions of years. Who knows? Perhaps outer worlds like Pluto can get kicked into close-in orbits where life could thrive again, briefly, under the light of a diminutive pale white dot. In the remote future, after trillions of years, the white dwarf that we once called our sun will have gradually faded away into black. its carbon-rich plasma will have cooled and crystallized from the inside out, forming a solid diamond-like structure. And whatever planets that survive the sun's episodes of gigantism will have long been eroded away by gravitational interactions with neighboring stars. In its final chapter, the sun will be cold, alone, and dark. There will be no one left who will remember how she once fostered life on Earth billions of years ago, how rich and diverse her solar system was, or what her warm light felt like upon your skin on a calm summer's morning. No one will remember her gentleness.
This is the existential fear and dread that I have. Go back, start from this part. Yeah. Like he's literally saying no one's going to remember any of this because it's going to all be gone.
She once fostered life on Earth billions of years ago, how rich and diverse her solar system was, or what her warm light felt like upon your skin on a calm summer's morning. No one will remember her gentleness, her relative serenity that permitted agriculture and sentience to develop, basking in her radiance. Like all things, including in many ways ourselves, it simply fades amorphously into the dark, velvety background, lost somewhere between immensity and eternity. The sun is a wonder. Yes, it's one of billions of such stars in our galaxy alone, but that detracts nothing away from its power, its magnificence, its beauty. Like all things, it too will eventually end. And it will fight, it will resist, it will rage. But eventually, even the sun will dwindle. And now you know her story, the product of thousands of astronomers, countless hours of human ingenuity and toil. Through all of that, we deciphered its secret. We, the children of the sun, discovered our parents' story. We are the way that the solar system knows itself. There's something magical about that unraveling. We didn't do it for personal gain, for profit, to dodge taxes or pump a stock price. We did it because of sheer goddamn curiosity. We just wanted to know. We had to know who we are, where we came from, and where it's all going. I think there's a certain noble purity in that, perhaps even a window into who we truly are. So, until next time, stay thoughtful and stay curious.
Awesome. Wow. Can I share a poem, Goldie?
Yeah. Why don't you share it on the screen and then you can read it from there?
Sure. Okay. So this is a great poem by Dylan Thomas, which I'm sure many of you have heard. So do not go gentle into that good night. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. The wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning. They do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death who see the blinding sight. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad heights, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of light. And that's how our sun's gonna die. How do you
Oh my
feel?
gosh.
Your fear yet?
I mean, I'm still terrified. I mean, it's like a childhood existential dread, but I mean, as an adult now, um, I I feel much better. Um, and I actually really appreciate that you shared that poem. Um, and the chat does as well. Let me just, I know you were busy reading the poem, but I starred a few of the comments while you were reading the chat. There's other comments that you're going to respond to, but let me just go with the ones from the poem. So as you started reading, WMK said, yes, love this. And John Darwin said, fight, fight against the dying of the light. Seeker of the Way said, English minor here, love this. And Matt says, yes, it was a poem to his father. Stephen Melton says, I almost quoted this poem. And Just Without says, this is one of my faves. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Another rage, rage against the dying of the light. And this is making me well up. So there you go. Wow. Okay. So that was a fantastic documentary. I mean, I feel a little bit less nervous, but at the same time, like I'm like, okay, it's still happening. Like it's just one of those inevitable things. But
Yeah.
um what gives me hope about the future is Elon Musk is literally trying to figure out how to colonize humanity on like various planets. So trust in Elon Musk.
Yes, yeah, trust in Elon Musk. It definitely was a fun one to go through. I feel like it was more technical than I was expecting, to be honest, the documentary, but it was definitely fun. Let me know what you guys thought of like this style of documentary, or like was it too technical or like not technical enough? I'd be curious to hear thoughts. But I feel like something like the Is Pluto a Planet one might be less into some, like it might be less technical in a way, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I can. I mean, I'm looking forward to that one, especially now that I know who's the reason for why there's a
Oh yeah.
debate about Pluto. So yeah, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that on Sunday. But yeah, I mean, there's some comments that I starred for you, but then of course there's comments in the chat. So I mean, how long do you want to do Q&A? Like 10 minutes or something? But up to
Yeah,
you.
we'll do 10 minutes. That works for
Okay.
me. Okay, so I see that you've starred a few, so thank you.
I also, you know what? I also starred a few, not for you to answer right away, but I just wanted you to see them because, guys, like my sister, Rose, she will literally go through every single question and comment in the live stream. And like she's very analytical that way. So I highlighted a few for her as well for her to think about of, things that she can talk about next time as well.
Great, thanks, Goldie. Okay, so let's go with the first one. So Viper Optics says, could a massive solar flare take out the Earth? Ooh, interesting. So I feel like maybe not Earth itself. Earth has a magnetic field and an atmosphere, obviously, that do a relatively good job at protecting us most of the time. I think the bigger fear would be like how it could damage or affect our technology, particularly, or like a really powerful solar storm could like damage satellites, GPS, communication. It could affect like power outages. So like something like that would definitely be concerning, I think, and could be a possibility. I mean, solar flares are very normal. The sun's been, it's been happening in the sun ever since it's existed. But I guess the only thing that's different now is that like now there's something that the sun can destroy because of like humans and like civilization and life on Earth. But solar flares is a very normal part of the sun. But I don't know. I don't know if like there could be a massive solar flare that could reach Earth and actually like wipe it out as a whole. But that's a great question.
You should look into that for next time.
It would be bad for technology for sure. Okay.
Why?
Because of the magnetic field. So it could.
Oh, it's like that scene in the Matrix where like they're in like the like it's like the Matrix, and then the aliens that are, like the machines are coming at them, and then they turn off their ship, and then they do like an EMP or something, and then it
Oh yeah.
is that what you're talking about? Like some sort of magnetic flare,
Mm-hmm.
and then it kills like the technology or something?
It can, yeah.
Okay.
Um, does that scare you, Goldie?
Yeah, well, we already spoke about that in the last one, and like I don't know, I'm like, are we in the Matrix? Like, are there, is AI basically using us as batteries? I don't know, man.
Okay. We have E. Oh gosh.
Ian Dickinson or
Ian
Ian
Dixon,
Dixon.
Dixon 875 says gamma ray sounds just like Gamari. Yes, that's it's a play on the last name. So good catch. Yeah, that's why we went with it, and it kind of fits with the vibe. Next question is from Tony Monaxa 992. Goldie, I'm gonna let you take this one.
I just put this to tease you. Will we ever see space jihadis in our lifetime? So actually, we already have space jihadis. Never forget that Muhammad rode a donkey with the face of a woman to the moon and back. So we already have space jihadis. It happened 1400 years ago. They use flying donkeys to travel around space.
Hmm. Okay, today I learned. Next question is from Luai, who is asking, is dark matter real? Another great question. So the reason why it's called dark matter is because I don't believe we've ever like really directly detected a dark matter, but there is definitely strong evidence that it exists in the universe. There's a lot of movement in the universe that we can't really explain. So, for example, galaxies that are like spinning too fast, or like things that contain more gravity that can't necessarily be explained by like uh, stars and other like cosmic um, bodies that are in its vicinity. So, like weird movement that's happening that we can't really explain. And so, a lot of astronomers think that like there could be this other kind of thing making some of these things happen, and like they've kind of named it dark matter because it's like this kind of invisible matter essentially, in a way that's like making up that's potentially making up a portion of the universe. But like there hasn't really been an actual detection of it as far as I know at this point yet. Have you heard of dark matter before, Goldie?
Yeah, I've definitely heard of dark matter. And like I know there's like a big debate on whether like it exists or not. Um I like from what I know, again, I'm not a science person. From what I know, I think like I thought that one of the uh main reasons why like scientists think dark matter exists is because of black holes, because apparently like I could be totally wrong, I don't know. But like the black hole itself is the dark matter that is like completely different from regular matter. Does that make sense, or am I sounding like I don't know.
I'm not sure about that, to be honest.
I'm probably wrong. For
But
some reason, I thought that like black holes were why scientists think dark matter is real. But I don't
interesting.
know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think it's mostly like, so there's some claims out there that dark matter is actually making up most of the universe, and like people are saying like the the matter that the universe is made of is mostly composed of this invisible thing that's out there that's
Oh,
created.
are they talking about like the space between like things that we can observe?
No, it's not really this. I
Oh,
mean, it can be,
I
but
don't.
so it's real. It's like this invisible force or matter that is causing some like movement in the universe that is kind of unexplained. So I feel like maybe it's a topic we should look into a little bit more, maybe as a future topic.
Could
And
you, yeah, like could you make like a video on that? Like just maybe like a 10 or 15-minute video and just like explain it. Like it's like literally imagine that like imagine you're trying to explain it to me and then that way
yeah,
like, because I'm like literally a beginner in science stuff, but like I would be interested in learning more about like what that is cuz I mean so okay, my understanding of science, right? And like science theories versus like scientific laws is that the way science works is that you have a theory and in order to like prove that the theory is a law, you have to like run experiments to try and disprove the theory. And eventually you get to a point where when you can't disprove it anymore, it becomes like a law. So, for example, that's why it's called the law of gravity, right?
hmm,
Because the whole point, like, am I right here? Like, the whole point of like scientific experiments is to like see if you can like um either recreate the same condition or result over again or like to disprove something. And I think the reason there's a debate on dark matter is because they haven't been able to prove or disprove it either way. It's just like it's like a theory type thing.
yeah. But sorry, I actually thought that gravity was a theory and not a law.
You could be right. I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, like
There must be a law of
I think
something
there are
though.
different schools of thought here. Like, sometimes sometimes like a theory could be better than a law, or like I don't know, like a scientific law describes like what happens, but then the theory describes why it happens. Um,
Oh, okay.
the law of gravity is describing how objects attract each other, as an example. But then like the theory of general relativity, so like that's where like Einstein comes in, gives like a deeper explanation about like it's not like gravity isn't like really a pulling force, but it's actually like mass and energy, and like the E equals MC squared, that's like bending space and time, and like that's more of a theory.
Yeah, and that's why like when once you get into quantum physics, it's the whole thing with like is the cat in the box or not?
Yeah.
Because when you zoom in so much, the laws or the theories that exist from like a outside perspective when you're right in there with like the atoms, it doesn't make as much sense anymore.
Hmm.
I'm totally out of my element. Like I'm totally out of my element here. Like
Yeah. But
I'm
like like in modern day physics, gravity is best defined by this like Einstein's theory of general relativity, which is a theory at the end of the day. But we it still goes like we still define our modern physics based on that. This is excluding quantum mechanics, which operates on like a completely different realm. But yeah, it
okay.
is an interesting concept.
I think you should definitely make like a short video primer about that, like 10, 15 minutes long. I mean, I would certainly appreciate learning about that.
Okay, you got it. Okay, so we got a couple more questions to go through. The next one's all you again, Goldie.
Yes, let's send them all to the sun. I agree.
And then we have Evil Joker 303 says, "Can we artificially create a black hole in?"
Oh no, these are the ones that I wasn't paying attention.
So I was like, oh, like I can answer this. And then it went to Dirk. But I don't know, Goldie, can we?
Well, actually, I think the more interesting part of this question is, can we artificially create a black hole? Is that even something that's possible?
So I guess like going back to like Einstein physics, theoretically, if you compress enough energy and mass into like a small enough space, that's how you would create a black hole. So like I don't think we have like technology today, as far as I know, to be able to actually do that in practice, but theoretically that's what you would have to do. So you would need enough mass and energy and like compress it into like a tiny microscopic space, and then you could create a black hole that way. And then if you know whoever you want to throw into it is up to you.
Black hole. Yeah, so okay, so guys, so here's the plan. Guys, here's the plan. We're going to try to help Rose create a black hole.
Oh gosh.
And then we can send all the Durka jihadis into the black hole. There you go. Teamwork makes the dream work.
So funny. Okay, next one. Oh, this is so nice. But that's not a question, Goldie. YLGU. Oh God, you'll YLGUNAWS says, "You're a great sister, Goldie, but Rose is smarter."
I agree. I told you guys, she's a smart one. I don't even know how she's tolerating all like my random questions that are probably so confusing because she's like,
you're keeping me on my toes.
I don't. Well, I'm keeping you on your toes because I'm asking the most random questions that you would never like get from like someone who actually knows their stuff, right? I'm just like, the atoms are vibrating, therefore it's cold or not cold, right? So
no, you're asking great questions.
Thank you.
And then the last one that you've starred for me is Viper Optics says, "A very hot topic." Yes, the sun is a very hot topic. I love that.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw anything else in the chat that you want to comment on, but it is getting a little bit late. So tell us, so what's next, Rose? When can we take so for people who usually are watching my channel, when is our next class field trip and what is the topic?
Yes, that's a great question, Goldie. So what?
Wait, sorry, one more final question.
Oh, Goldie's always right.
No,
Goldie.
it's Rose. It's Rose.
No.
Okay.
That's your tagline. Goldie's always right.
When we're taking a class field trip, Rose is always right.
But yeah, so our next class field trip, everyone, hop on the magic plane and we will be flying to Pluto on Sunday.
Yes.
And I guess we'll determine whether it's a planet or not. I don't know. Time will tell.
There you go. So guys, everyone, make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications because on Sunday, we are going to answer the hot topic question. For some reason, it's like Rose, this has been a point of contention on Iran Revolution Live. Like, people argue about Pluto and whether or not it's a planet. So I'm looking forward to this field trip on Sunday. And I think you also mentioned in the meantime, you're going to be working on some videos. So for everyone who's watching, especially when this live stream is done, make sure that within the comments, if there's anything that you want Rose to talk about or make a video on, put that in the comments for sure. And she's also going to be making some posts as well. So yeah, just make sure you like, subscribe, have your notifications turned on. And Rose, honestly, I'm so happy you're doing this. And you know what? Thank you for tolerating my random sciencey questions because
No, it's
I
great.
don't know as much as you, but I'm really
We're
enjoying
all
this.
learning. We're all learning, but
We are. It's a learning journey together. I also really appreciate how you're able to take these like complex topics and explain it in a way that like someone like me can understand. So
no, I'm
it's
happy
a
to.
rare
And
skill.
yeah, hey, you do the same thing on your channel with different topics. So, it's
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, like let's be perfectly honest here, though. Like, translating like Durkha Jihadi is not the same as like taking like I don't know the theory of relativity or the sun how it's going to die or whatever and explaining that in a way that like we can understand. So that takes real skill, and I do appreciate the way that you break things down because it makes someone like me understand. So I love this channel.
Thanks so much, Goldie. And yeah, like I'm definitely gonna have to figure out like the groove of things a little bit, but it'll come with some more practice. And I appreciate everyone's patience and spending their time with us tonight. So thanks everyone, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's gamma ray report. And I'll see you all on Sunday for our next field trip. Bye.